060600973. Let us start
In
by
800
asking
feet,
Carl
turn
Turner
left
MP,
onto
Labour
Buckingham
MP
Palace
for Hull
Road,
East. Carl, hello, how good to have you on the show.
Hello, good afternoon, Vanessa.
We're awaiting breaking news. So far, Andy Burnham is stum. Mum's the word. Hasn't said a thing.
We don't know anything at the moment.
We know
Turn
nothing.
left onto Buckingham Palace Road,
But I mean, that's the reality of the process,
then
I
turn
think.
right
I think
onto Palace
it's difficult
Street.
for Andy Burnham to say anything because the process is that he has to apply to the National Executive Committee of the Labour Party in order to have permission to then apply to be a prospective parliamentary candidate or indeed to be shortlisted for that position.
Turn right onto Palace Street.
Burnham can't really say anything until he's asked for those permissions. I mean, what does Keir do? It's a difficult thing for the PM. I mean, the reality is he looks weak if he, or the NEC rather, because he's not Starmer blocking anybody. He looked weak if the NEC block Andy Burnham. I don't think he'd be forgiven because whoever took the candidacy, if they lost, it would be forever Keir Starmer's problem and fault. We'd all blame Keir. Everybody would be pointing the finger. It's a very difficult situation. If I was the Prime Minister, I'd be saying to his lads, huddling the photocopying machines in the back rooms of Downing Street, listen, calm this down to a frenzy, for crying out loud. We are the Labour Party, we are democratic. If he wants to throw his hat in the ring, let him get on with it. And I'll deal with him if he wants to challenge me at some point in the future.
All right, talk to me though, Carl, because you know you could be quite insouciant about this because he's not threatening you. You're Labour MP for Hull East. He's not coming for your job. He's not gunning for you, is he? But what kind of a bloke is Andy Burnham? We who are not up north rarely see much of him. He keeps keeps himself to himself and kind of confines his influence and his sphere to the north, doesn't he? So, we know he seems like a down-to-earth bloke and he seems like the kind of guy who would just get on with it and that kind of a thing, but that's all I really know. That's not enough, is it? What is he like?
Well, Burnham is a guy who's, frankly, very bright and very political. He knows about the politics of things. He would read a situation and know how the policy would feel and look amongst the constituencies that he's hoping to, or the constituency, rather, that he's hoping to represent. He reads the situation well. He's got a big brain. He has a team of good people around him as well. He'd do very well as a member of Parliament. He's doing very well as the Mayor of Manchester, actually. So, look, I think this is about a load of people who are getting very excited. They ought not to be. I don't think there's a problem with him challenging the Prime Minister. We have a leader of the party. He is the PM, and the PM will stay as PM as long as he wants it.
But as far as you're concerned, do you think the PM is doing a good job? Because yet again, I mean, I'm not doing this on purpose, and I only present on Saturdays these days at LBC, I'm on TV or every weekday, so I've had to throw the towel in for some days, because otherwise I was working 7 days a week, and I don't have ambition to be Prime Minister or Mayor of Manchester or anything else. I just felt like lying on a chaise longue and eating a grape, you know what I mean? But anyway, so I'm only here once a week, so I'm not orchestrating this or making this happen. But it feels like anyway, I don't want to exaggerate, but it feels as if every single week, every single show, we're talking about some kind of Starmian vacillation, U-turn, embarrassment, kowtowing to Trump, not kowtowing enough. I would love to have a day when we can say that, and triumphant Starmer brilliantly carries off this thing, that thing, or the other thing. It just doesn't seem to happen.
Well, look, I think the PM had a fairly good week last week. He was good at the PMQs.
Continue straight onto Storey's Gate, then turn left
not
onto
very good at PMQs. Keir was very good. He then virtually told Trump what he thought of him. And I think people felt reassured that he was actually the Prime Minister and he was in control of the situation. This has come along and it's caused a problem again for Keir Starmer. But as I say, I think the Labour Party is about democracy. You know, the one thing we ought not to be seen to be doing is trying to block candidates. I mean, goodness knows, if I was standing for selection nowadays, Vanessa, I dare say they wouldn't let me in. I'd be seen as either too left or too gobby northern or whatever the excuse would be. People like myself and Angela Rayner, under the current system, frankly, wouldn't be selected as candidates, and that's a shame, really.
Do you really think so? But why? I thought Angela Rayner was meant to have been a precious jewel in the Prime Minister's constellation because she was, as everyone kept saying, including me, relatable, down to earth. At least we thought so until she started acquiring that property empire. But we really thought that she was an accessible, down home sort of a girl that we could all kind of get on board with, didn't we?
Well, it seems to me that, I'm afraid to tell you, there's too many lads getting involved in things that they ought not to be involved with. Advise the Prime Minister on policy, by all means. The Prime Minister is the person who decides. He's the minister. Advisors advise, ministers decide. What the advisors shouldn't be seen to be doing is interfering with the National Executive of the Labour Party. How it works, it's a bit like the Bible, the Labour Party rule book. It's subject to interpretations. So there is a mechanism to stop Burnham if they so desire.
Use the middle
but that
lane to
ought
turn
not
right
be
onto Great
influenced
George
by
Street,
people who are in a back
Parliament
room
Square.
somewhere thinking they're giving the Prime Minister the best advice. Just stop it. Let the party do what the party needs to do. If Burnham wants to stand, good luck to him. I'll be on knocking on doors with him in the constituency trying to get him elected. But at the minute, we don't know.
Okay, now there is something very beguiling about being mayor of Manchester, isn't there?
There
I
are
remember
police
because I used to have
reported
Boris
ahead.
Johnson in the studio every 5 weeks right through his double mayoralties of London. And it was a little like being, you know, king of your own fiefdom because you're kind of slightly outside of everything and you're in charge of everything. And it's a huge budget and you're not, I mean, if you are running it by government day and night, it doesn't seem to feel that way. It feels quite autonomous, slightly despotic and really good fun. You know, you're busily doing it. It's marvellous. Do you think there's a likelihood that Burnham won't fancy, you know, giving that up in order to be an MP and take on Starmer? Do you think he might be enjoying it too much and also making inroads in Manchester?
I think it's very possible, actually, because he's doing a good job as mayor of Greater
Embankment,
Manchester. He's popular, as I understand it. We'd call him the king of the north.
Yeah.
But that speaks to the issue, right? Why would we want to stop a candidate who is well known and popular, who is a big figure in the area, who actually might stand a chance of getting elected as the Labour MP, right? To stop either the Greens, probably the Greens in this situation, or indeed reform. That would be a balmy idea. The Labour Party exists, right, to get elected to Parliament in order to be in government. It's like having, you know, it's like having a brand spanking new family car on the driveway, but not being allowed to drive it because you don't have a driving licence. If you're not in government, you can't change much. We exist to win elections so we can govern. You don't stop the best possible candidate from standing. It's utterly bonkers. They need to calm it down to a frenzy and stop trying to interfere with the process of the election.
Much enjoying your company enormously. Carl Turner MP, Labour MP for Hull East, and a great laugh as he keeps saying calm it down to a frenzy. Loving that. All right, joining me on the show, Joe Twyman, pollster at Delta Poll. So Joe, I mean, we hear the Prime Minister, don't we, in mire between Scylla and Charybdis. I mean, either he allows Andy Burnham to stand if Andy Burnham wants to stand. That is the news we're still waiting to break. We don't know if he will or won't, but anyway, for Gorton and Denton, and then risks letting a viper into his own bosom and allowing himself to be attacked from within and possibly assassinated. Not good. I mean, assassinated in the figurative sense, of course. Or he doesn't, in which case he looks like a lily-livered milquetoast, a coward and an abject, you know, trembling, terrified, timid boy, all those things that we don't want our leaders to be. It's not good either way, Joe, is it?
Well, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
We definitely agree that. The complexity here is what makes it so difficult to really have any idea of what the outcome may be, because you can speculate, but it is just that, speculation. There are a number
Continue
of
on
hurdles
Victoria Embankment
that
for
Andy Burnham would
3/4
have
of a
to
mile.
overcome in order to become an MP. And getting selected, or indeed deciding that he wants to run, is simply the first of those.
Yeah.
And many still exist. And to leave, to vacate the mayoralty of Manchester, potentially leaving that open to another party to win, perhaps Green or Reform, that could damage Labour's standing in that region. But what we're talking about here is ultimately a question of leadership. You see, parties don't like to be seen as divided. Unified parties are popular, divided parties are unpopular with the general public. It's a broad understanding that people have. They may not be paying close attention to the specifics of this story or others, but if they have a general sense that a party is divided, that's bad. And I think blocking Andy Burnham, or being seen to block Andy Burnham, I think would be damaging, because it would see the party come across as divided.
I may ask you something, sorry to interrupt, but is it possible to block Andy Burnham without it being visible and known that this has happened? Is it all out in the open and the blockers are saying, hello, we block him, we hereby block, here we are, and it's us doing it? Or is it subtly and insidiously